What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about something different inside of Destiny, which will perhaps lower the tone a little more than I'm used to doing inside of my Destiny videos. I'm not really a negative person. I don't like to have a negative attitude towards Destiny, particularly when I'm presenting content to you guys. So that is something important to me, but this is definitely something that needs to be continuously revised and thought about inside of Destiny as it progresses and we see more expansions, releases, and content drops. So remember when Eververse was first introduced to Destiny, a lot of people were highly concerned about how microtransactions could affect a game like this, and the main concern of course being what started out as some emotes and other very vanity based items could eventually turn into a pay to win system, so to speak. If we fast forward through the updates, we've seen Eververse pushed harder and harder by Bungie and Activision, and in my opinion this particular Festival of the Lost is the most paywalled experience that we've seen in Destiny to date, which for the first time really since all of this started I feel could be going a little bit too far. So inside of Festival of the Lost this year, we have multiple avenues to acquiring new gear. There's filling the candy bags for Eva, there's doing the quests, which you can do on each character for a shot at some of the best gear or most attractive content in this event. Treasures of the Lost in particular are where you'll find the really appealing stuff this time around. If we take a look inside, instantly we can see why this stuff is so attractive to the player base. Treasures of the Lost, of course, can be purchased for silver, which requires actual money at Eververse, which is something that a lot of players have been doing for a shot at the Ghost, for example. I mean, this thing is really cool, it's super attractive and unique. We have another unique ghost, the Sparrow, which again, you won't see anything really like this in the game. We've got the Fiery Wolf mask, as well as all of the other masks and other general items. So basically, all of the new content is locked inside of these treasure boxes, which isn't strictly a problem in itself, but here are my concerns. So you can complete the main event quest and get a Treasures of the Lost. You can do it up to 3 times on 3 different characters for free, so it's not that bad, right? Well, I'm not sure about that, because I feel like the other rewards that you can get along the way are not very exciting to most people. You also have stages of the quest which require you to do things like the Court of Oryx and charge the runes, which is something a lot of players at this point in time will have to spend a little bit of time doing because we don't hold on to those items, that much anymore. It concerns me a little bit that these steps could have intentionally been made, slightly awkward and grindy in the hope that more people would be like, surely if I buy a few treasures, I'll have a shot at what I want. So a fair amount of players who can spend the money end up going for it. Secondly, the drop rates. I understand this is of course an RNG game. The special stuff should be rarer and therefore remain somewhat special, but the difference here is that the whole RNG and grinding element of the game and that model is being taken and put into a system where you have to pay for a chance at that very RNG. So, it's like paying money for your Nightfall rewards every week. It's saying, hey, here's 20 things, give me $5, and one of these things will be randomly selected and given to you, and they're taking the things which they know people will want and then clearly making them the hardest drops to find. All you need to do is go and watch Patrick Casey's video, or perhaps if you've spent money yourself, you'll know exactly how difficult it can be to get some of the cooler items in these packages. The scariest thing for me though is that I've literally seen multiple people spend twice the price of this expansion in the hopes of picking up, just the Ghost or a Sparrow, which is more or less the only thing that they're going for when they start this whole process. I don't judge people for spending money, by the way. If you want to do that, then that's your choice, but the idea alone is something that I'm growing more and more uncomfortable with, because it's effectively gambling your money at a chance for a particular thing. The next thing that really concerns me is that we've all paid the same money for Destiny and its expansions, and this is becoming somewhat of a community issue, because maybe this guy has a ton of money and he's willing to spend, to try and get this thing, and then there's another guy over here who can't afford to do that, and therefore, despite buying the game in the first place and the time investment that they've made towards the game, can simply be denied these items simply on that basis. This does of course happen in games nowadays, but when I think of the largely fantastic community experience that Destiny offers, this also makes me a little bit sad. Also, they're using more and more avenues to encourage microtransactions. So for example, Xur this weekend is selling Bad Juju, which is the only weapon that has new exotic ornaments in this event, which are of course acquired through these sterling treasure things. So a player who's already willing to pay into the Eververse system, who perhaps doesn't have this weapon yet, could easily be like, well, I've just picked up this new weapon, so I want the new ornaments for this gun, and I'm going to try spending more money on it. Even selling Moonglow again this week seems a little bit pushy to me because, players have spent more currency this week on new items and are likely to have increased amounts of silver dust because they've been breaking other things down. So naturally, this is a great time to get people to spend those materials, because if they can push something new next week, you know, for example, what if they sold Hoodooom for Bad Juju at Xur next week? People will spend more currency to get those material items so they can buy it off Xur. It's the pattern on the whole that really worries me with this. We're seeing it pushed more and more in-game and by the rotations of available items each week. We're seeing more and more appealing and heavily RNG-based drops inside of these packages. Without a doubt, the use and player value towards what you can get from microtransactions in Destiny is really escalating. Something else to talk about is why aren't Bungie offering more varied ways to get these things dropped? You could offer an additional one per week from Heroic Strikes or Crucible. There are ways to keep the audience engaged which are simple and aren't being utilized, and I'm really worried that that's because they just want to sell more of this stuff. I don't have a massive issue with the type of microtransactions we've seen on the whole. I just really don't want the rest of this year in Destiny to be about selling RNG chances to players who've already invested vast amounts of time into the game, and it's not about having a problem with them making a profit or us as players continuing to invest in the game, which is of course our choice, but it's more about greed. You know, that's the bit that worries me, and that maybe, you know, that's kind of the direction we're going in. The team who designs this game do put a ton of love into making this a fantastic experience, and we as players and a community have helped build and become part of something that's very special with Destiny, and to sully that experience by separating people based on their ability to pay money or the RNG opportunities they can afford to buy will absolutely, in the long term, damage something which is very special to us. So if it's not handled correctly, you know, it could be a real big problem. And these are just my thoughts anyway, guys. I don't like to be negative about Destiny, like I said, but we should be aware of the effects of this. Let me know down below what you guys think, though. Do you think it's going too far? Does it perhaps frustrate you that you can't or aren't willing to spend money and may feel slightly removed from this particular experience because of it? Let me know in the comments below. But that's all from me anyway, guys. If you agreed with the video, a like is always appreciated. If not, then feel free to say how you feel. But for now, have a great day, and remember why we play this awesome game. Peace.